Everyone keeps asking me, they keep banging on my door, they keep saying, hey, you, what are your top five favorite movies of 2021? All right, relax. Okay, I'll tell you my top five movies of 2021. Keep in mind, this list doesn't include every movie ever made in the history of movies, just movies released in 2021. So without further ado, here are my top five movies from 2021. Keeping in mind, I haven't seen every movie released this year, just like 35 of them. So there you go. Starting off the list is Pixar's movie about Italian fish people, Luca. Now, this movie was just really fun to watch. I love the Wallace and Gromit style animation. The settings are beautiful. The graphics are beautiful. And another thing I love is that this movie's less serious than previous Pixar entries. It's sort of a breath of fresh air. I don't want to cry every time I watch an animated movie. Don't get me wrong, this movie's emotional, but it's just a simpler story, less complex than movies like Inside Out, and it's just a feel-good film. It's cute, and I like it a lot more than I thought I would. On top of that, it's an accurate portrayal of Italians in film. Probably the most accurate portrayal of Italians since The Godfather. That's how good this movie is. Probably better than The Godfather. Moving on, the next movie on this list is West Side Story. Yes, I do like musicals, and that's okay. This movie's got beautiful cinematography, great dancing, and fabulous music. It feels like an accurate depiction of the cultures portrayed in the film. For example, there's no white people playing the Puerto Rican actors, which is great. This movie sort of tells the story of a couple that is doomed to, doomed to fail. It's a Romeo and Juliet story, but it feels a lot more impactful and beautiful than Romeo and Juliet in a way I can't explain. And I just really enjoyed this film overall. I think Steven Spielberg did a great job modernizing it, and it's just a great movie. I really recommend it. Next up is Daniel Craig's last outing as James Bond in No Time to Die. This movie had high expectations. It had to wrap up Craig's series of James Bond movies, and I think the expectations were met. James Bond shines in this film. There's thrilling action, surprising twists, and a satisfying conclusion. Overall, this is one of the best James Bond films ever made, and I'm sad to say that there will be no more Daniel James, what the hell? I'm sad to say there'll be no more Daniel Craig as James Bond, but that's okay, because this movie ended things with a bang. Ooh, maybe literally. The next movie up is kind of a sleeper hit in my opinion. It's a Netflix original called The Harder They Fall. It's an action-packed, self-aware cowboy movie, and it actually had some surprising and compelling twists, interesting and complex cast of characters, and the best action I've seen in a movie this year. The movie's over the top in the best way. The action is killer, literally. The gunfights are tense. The characters are funny, relatable, and I just really was surprised by this one. I was flicking through on Netflix. I saw Idris Elba as a cowboy, and I was like, this is the one I want to watch. He was the villain of the piece. And he was just great. And it was a really surprising and great movie. I didn't expect to get out of Netflix. So I recommend watching it if you haven't yet. Before I reveal the obvious number one pick, I want to go over some honorable mentions. First up is Ghostbusters Afterlife. As a fan of the original Ghostbusters movie, which I watched all the time as a kid, this was a great follow-up and I really enjoyed it. Next is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I wanted to hate this movie so bad. I hated Batman v Superman. I'm angry at Zack Snyder for what he did to the DC universe. But this movie somehow turned out to be really enjoyable, which I guess is a good thing. Finally, the last honorable mention is The Suicide Squad. Just a great movie with a lot of fun action, funny, and great characters. So there's a shark played by Sylvester Stallone. What more do you want? That's a good movie. All right, a drum roll, please. You don't have to actually do a drum roll, but everyone get ready. The number one movie is Spider-Man No Way Home. Surprise! Now, spoilers for the movie coming up. This had to be number one. It may not be the best movie standing on its own, but this was the cinematic event of the year. This is what got everyone's butt into the theater seats. So this is why it's my favorite movie. On top of that, you see the return of beloved characters such as Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's portrayal of Spider-Man. There's spectacular action. The villains that come back are awesome. Green Goblin's just a great villain. And I really had a lot of fun with this movie. On top of all that, it's Tom Holland's best showing as Spider-Man yet, and it really gets me excited for the future of Spider-Man in the MCU. So that's my list. I haven't seen every movie this year, as I said earlier, so there's probably some great ones that I missed. And there are some other honorable mentions I could have mentioned. But overall, this is my list. I think it's a pretty good list. I'd watch all these movies again. So let me know your list if you want below, or don't. I don't care. I don't know how to end a video.